Seattle Seahawks today is presented by Manscaped. I'm not saying that my wife would not be pregnant right now if I didn't Manscape, but I'm not saying it either. Get 20% off on all their great men's grooming products at manscaped.com when you guys use promo code Seahawks. That's manscaped.com, promo code Seahawks. We get ready to break down some winners and losers from this particular game. The Seahawks were terrible against Denver, but DeeJay Dallas was not. 3 catches, 27 yards. Okay, that's fine, whatever. 2 kick returns, 73 yards. Also chipped in for good measure, a block punt. I don't think there was a better player on offense/special teams, I'll cheat here, than DeeJay Dallas. I don't yet know if he'll be RB2, RB3, or RB4, but I don't see how DeeJay Dallas doesn't make this roster. His performance tonight showed why I like him so much, why I have him over Travis Homer, over Alex Collins, as I've had him for a while. I'm a big fan of DeeJay Dallas. He's never going to be a Chris Carson type of workhorse, but as a depth running back, he brings you so much of what you want as a backup. Pass catching value, special teams value for days. This is the type of guy Pete Carroll just absolutely falls in love with. So Dallas, an unquestioned winner from an otherwise not great effort from Seattle. Defense, Jordyn Brooks. Look, Seattle sat 22 key players or starters. I'm going to say it. You don't got to put Jordyn Brooks out there anymore. The stuff he's got to get better at, a lot of the pass coverage stuff relative to what he was his last year at Tech, a little bit better in his previous year. That's going to come with real game reps. You don't need to risk injury to Jordyn Brooks anymore. You don't have to give him the full-fledged Bobby Wagner treatment yet, and especially with the Seahawks' plans for Week 3 of the preseason being more involved for the starters, you're probably in a position where you can afford to give him some more reps again. But I'm impressed by Jordyn Brooks. He is going to be this team's number 2 linebacker, and that one is absolutely locked and loaded. Now, in an otherwise very disappointing game, and what I'm calling tonight, because we are filming this right after the game ends, who impressed you guys the most in Week 2 of the NFL preseason? Get your votes in for me right now in the comment section. In fact, this question is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and get your votes in. A popular name, quite frankly, might end up being one Nick Bellore, because I was very impressed with what he was able to do as a two-way player. Shohei Ohtani's got nothing on Nick Bellore. Look, Ben Burke-Irvin got hurt. You can call him a loser, too, if you want to go that route. Seattle was already very thin at the linebacker position, so they threw out Nick Bellore there at linebacker, and he was actually pretty damn good. Now, I don't know how great he's going to be in coverage long term, but frankly, having a two-way player is incredibly valuable from a roster construction standpoint. Nick Bellore is going to be your fullback. He'll probably get cut for roster cuts and then brought back, as he seemingly always ends up being. But if he can be fullback 1 and linebacker 5, that's got value if you're Seattle. So I loved what I saw from Nick Bellore as a potential back end of the roster two-way player. I love to see it. I say keep him at linebacker as a two-way guy. You keep him at fullback too, of course. What do you guys think? Do you want more Bellore at linebacker? Y for yes, N for no. Get your votes in right now. I was pretty impressed with Rasheem Green, by the way. I think he actually had it was listed as let me double check, make sure I'm not wrong here. It was actually a sack, not a tackle for loss for Rasheem Green. My bad. You guys know what I mean. I think in a defense that did not play, really, or at least LJ Collier didn't really make any impact, I should say. The sack, 3 tackles is impactful for Rasheem Green. He is kind of stuck right now fighting for a role on the Broncos as a back-end, defensive tackle hybrid. That impact against Denver will help him carve out some type of role this upcoming season. Also on the defensive line, Alton Robinson. Now, Green made the splash sack, but Robinson, his impact was felt a little bit more in terms of not shown in the stat sheet. The things that Robinson has done well, especially against Denver, was backside run support, being an edge setter, and that Leo, Sam, kind of modified edge rusher defense. You're going to see that the Seahawks use a little bit more this year in their bare fronts. I think that role does carry value. Is he going to be a Carlos Dunlap at his peak? No, probably not. But if he can contribute on rundowns as a backside support defensive end and chip in a few sacks over the season, that matters. And given what still remains to be some uncertainty with how that edge rushing group is deployed, Robinson's role, I think, does exist still on this team. As I mentioned, today's show is made possible by Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping on all their great men's grooming products when you go to manscaped.com and you use promo code Seahawks. That link is right there at the bottom of your screen. Manscaped.com. Promo code is Seahawks. We'll put that link in the comments section and in the description. The new Lawnmower 4.0, it's the best men's grooming tool out there for your stuff down there. It helps it keep it nice and trimmed and makes things look bigger because depth perception is a real thing. When there's no hair, the tree looks a little bit bigger. Manscaped.com. Promo code is Seahawks. I do want to list Tre Brown as a winner, not because of his game necessarily, but more how he was used. I do think it is significant that Ahkello Witherspoon came back into the game at corner in the 2-minute drill. That starting spot opposite DJ Reed is not closed. Trey Flowers still kind of in the mix there. I think Tre Brown has closed some ground, though. So it's not set in stone. I still think Witherspoon ends up being your starter. But Seattle's trying to find a way, and I respect the hell out of it, by the way, to get Tre Brown involved in some capacity this year. All right, losers now, because life has losers. Get over it. Alex McGough, I am sorry. I just do not think he's a good football player. And I've never thought that, so if you want to accuse me of being biased, okay, maybe that's fair. I just haven't seen anything to make me change my mind. He can run a little bit, and I think that matters for backup quarterbacks, but I don't think McGough's a NFL caliber guy. Way too many mistakes. I don't think the team should even bother rostering a quarterback 3. Who do you think, though, is the biggest loser from the game? Maybe everyone who watched the entire thing because it was a 30-3 blowout by Denver. A stampede, a trampling, if you will. Get it? Get your votes in. Biggest loser from the game for Seattle. Let's go with Dominick Wood-Anderson next up here. Multiple penalties is not something you can do when you are fighting to simply be a practice squad player in Seattle. Now, there are some roster cuts that have to come on Tuesday, by Tuesday. I wonder if Anderson or Wood-Anderson could be one of those guys. You got Will Dissly, Gerald Everett. I know Kobe Parkinson's banged up, but also Tyler Mabry and Cam Sutton. Maybe Wood-Anderson ends up being one of those guys. I did not think he had a good game. And if you're a young player, if you're getting flagged during the preseason, that's a great way to put yourself firmly on the roster. But not that he was going to make the active roster anyway, but practice squad-wise, maybe not. John Ursua was going to be a winner from this game. 3 catches, 34 yards, and then he got hurt. And that is just absolutely brutal for Ursua. Pete Carroll termed it a significant knee injury. I think IR is a very real possibility now for John Ursua. Shortcutting what could have been a nice developmental piece, but he just never quite been the guy for Seattle. Never quite broke out. I thought this was getting a better preseason for him. The injury, though, cuts that short, unfortunately.